Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and today my topic is about synthetic fibers. So I have some examples that I can show you for each of the facts, but I have these different facts I'll talk about. I'm going to talk about the making fibers and how fibers were made and how synthetic fibers were made. I'll talk about the microfibers and how these tiny fibers are woven together to make a kind of like a blanket or a kind of towel. And I'm going to talk about elastic fibers and how some fibers are really stretchy and for like swimsuits. I'm going to talk about light and waterproof and how some of the synthetic materials are very light and waterproof. And I'll also talk about the products and uses. But before I talk about all of these, as usual, I'm going to talk about the wool fact. So, did you know that half of the world's clothes is made of polyester? So that is one kind of synthetic fiber, and synthetic fibers are made of many tiny fibers. And some of my clothes are synthetic fiber, like this jacket over here. The outside is synthetic. So the synthetic fiber, it keeps you really warm, and it also keeps you really not protected from like the outdoor elements. Like for example, the rain, it protects you from the rain. So it won't not protect you like some of the jackets, like this jacket over here. The rain might soak through it, so that's one reason why synthetic jackets are really good. So now I'm going to talk about making fibers. So you might have asked, how do they make synthetic fibers? So first they break down and make all the fibers, and then there's this machine, and then the fibers go down into these tiny holes called spinnerets, like this picture over here. These are tiny fibers going down, and it makes a lot of chemicals, and then it'll start streaming down and making bundles and bundles of like yarn. So that's kind of cool because if you think about it, if there's chemicals and synthetic fibers in like a machine and it starts going down, then it will become these tiny bundles of yarn. So first they are arranged like this, but then they can be arranged into yarn. So this is their first stage. So now I'm going to talk about microfibers. So you might have thought like about these kinds of towels that you use to wipe your desks at school, or these type of towels, they have like tiny parts inside them. So the tiny parts are made of microfibers. So microfibers is part of synthetic fibers, and microfibers are 100 times narrower than your hair. So think about your hair, it's very narrow. So that's 100 times narrower. So that microfibers, these get sewn together, and then they make this image over here. This tiny bundles of microfibers, they get woven together, and they make this over here. This kind of strategy helps stuff get soaked up. For example, it could be really good for wiping desks because it soaks up all the liquid, but also these they also can absorb a lot of liquid, and they're ideal for cleaning. But this is just one kind of thickness for fibers. So these are really narrow fibers, but I think they're really good for cleaning because they can soak up a lot, and there's a lot of bundles in them. Now I'm going to talk about elastic fibers. So do you see this girl over here? She's wearing like a very stretchy swimsuit, but you can't like make that swimsuit out of rubber since you can't make it like that. So instead they use synthetic fibers. Synthetic fibers, they are very stretchy. Right here, this one is like rubber, similar to rubber, but it's really stretchy instead. So this kind of material is called spandex. Spandex is like really stretchy, and it was invented in 1959, and that I think that would be really good for swimsuits because you would need like a very stretchy swimsuit. You wouldn't want a baggy one because that wouldn't help you swim well. Plus, rubber can't help too. And this spandex material, it helps you stretch your muscles without restraint or restrict, so it won't hurt your muscles, and you can easily use your muscles without getting any hurt. So I think these are really smooth and stretchy, like you feel. So now I'm going to talk about light and waterproof. So for example, when I go to like markets, I see these kinds of modern tents, these nylon tents, and then these tents are very good because they can protect a lot from water, and also they're really good at keeping away from the wind, and it's really light, so you can just carry it on your back easily instead of those very heavy kinds of tents. So that's pretty good about the nylon tent. So they could also be made of other materials, but that's just the modern tents, the nylon tents. So that's one kind of tent that you would probably use for camping, because if you don't probably have this, then you would probably I don't think you would stay warm, and I think you would get soaked up. So now I'm going to talk about products and uses. So there's a lot of different uses for kinds of synthetic fibers. There's like dozens and dozens of kinds of synthetic fibers, but I'm going to talk about 4 of them. And each kind has its own like brand name and more chemicals. So some chemicals, they're really unique that they add into the material, synthetic fibers. For example, of some kinds of chemicals might make it warm, or some kinds of chemicals might make it like fuzzy. But synthetic fibers can be a replacement for wool, and that's good because we don't want to shear wool and erase silkworms all the time. So I'm going to talk about the acrylic synthetic fiber. So when you go to art stores, you probably see acrylic yarn. Acrylic yarn is very soft, and it's a replacement for many kinds of clothes. Like it feels like cotton. So like when I go to my mom's workplace, then I see these acrylic kinds of yarns. Or at art class, I see a lot of these too. So now I'm going to talk about the rayon. So rayon is artificial silk. So like right here is my umbrella. It's really silky. All umbrellas are probably made of rayon because they absorb heat, and also they help you keep warm, and they're waterproof. So when you scratch them, they're really silky, and then it feels like real silk, but it actually isn't. That's just the work of synthetic fibers. And also, this is my hat over here. This is also made of synthetic fibers, and it's really unique because since synthetic fibers keep you warm and they absorb heat, then you can feel great on a rainy day because you won't get soaked wet. So now I'm going to talk about polyester. So for example, my mom has these kinds of cleaning thingies. They're fuzzy, and then those are made of polyester because they're hard, and also they're tough, but they have like a fabric, and they can be used to make clothes, and also they can also be used to make blankets and all the other kinds of uses. So now I'm going to talk about nylon. Nylon was the world's first synthetic fiber. The world's first synthetic fiber was nylon, and it was really hard. It's like used for parachutes, and parachutes they need to be hard, and then it would be pretty useful when you have a hard parachute. And then it can also be made for ropes too. So I think synthetic fibers was a very good topic because synthetic fibers, they're very unique, and then they can be used for replacements for silk and also wool. And I think that they make a lot of my kinds of daily lifestyle. And I think synthetic fibers are really cool. Please like and subscribe. And if you have any comments below, please tell. Thank you for listening.